Everyone. All right. Okay. I am live. Let's see. Should be live. Hope I'm live. Should be. Okay. Yes, I'm live. Perfect. Hi. Okay. Happy Thursday. My name is Alexis, and as always, I am teaching today's free class on behalf of Pop Shop America. I'm at home this week, so welcome to my messy studio. Uh, I'm glad you're here. So, tonight I am going to be showing you guys how to do DIY concrete vases. Now, this is actually a two-part class. So, next week we're going to be doing felt flowers. So, that's going to be the second part of it. But this part is going to be the concrete vase portion of it. And I have a picture here to show you guys. So, this is what we're doing. You can see that. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So, these vases here are a perfect keepsake. They are forever, well, they're made for your forever flowers, which we're going to make next week. And these here, they're going to be made out of a concrete solution. I'm going to show you guys how we make them step by step. And everything you need is going to be included in the kit that you have. So this is the concrete vase and felt flowers kit. It's pretty large. So that's what we're working with today. And let's do a little unboxing here, even though I already opened it, but still. So in this kit, you're going to have all the supplies that you need in order to make these concrete vases and felt flowers. So you'll open it up, and yours is going to be a lot more prettier package than mine because I kind of tore into mine and started this project already because it does take a little bit of time. So in here, you're going to have your Forever Bouquet kit, and as you can see right there, this is going to show you everything that's in the box as well. So it's going to have, you're going to have a concrete powder, your mailing tube, a cup, plasticware, Vaseline, a foam brush, popsicle sticks, sandpaper, felt sheets, flower and succulent templates. You're also going to have a glue gun that's included in your kit too, glue sticks, floral wire, and additional supplies you may need for tonight's class are going to be water, some rocks or some coins, scissors, and a pen. So if you don't have those on hand, that's something that you can go ahead and grab. You're going to need them for tonight's class, and they're not included in your kit. So that's what comes in the little top portion of it. And as you open it, you'll have a mailing tube. Yours won't be cut in half like mine is. I already cut mine in half to save a little bit of time. So this is how it comes. It's about 10 inches, and I just chopped it in half at 5 inches. And I went ahead and I already poured my concrete solution into it to save a little bit of time since it does take some time to dry. So what I did, and I'm going to walk you guys through this too. So the first thing that I did was I read my instructions completely because this class does have a slight procedure to it to make it go a little easier. So I would definitely suggest reading through your instructions, getting your understanding of it before moving forward. But went ahead, if you have a mask lying around too when you're mixing your concrete, I would suggest putting that on. This concrete doesn't have a ton of powder that comes up like certain brands do. This is the brand Rocktite. So this one doesn't have a lot of excess powder, but just for safety reasons, I would say go ahead, put your mask on when you're mixing the concrete because you don't want to inhale any of the tiny, particles or dust. So just for safety measures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Tupperware that came in the kit, and I'm also going to take a popsicle stick, and as you can see here, I've already mixed some of the concrete. That's why it has that residue on it, but I'm going to take the leftover that I have too, and I'm going to show you guys how I mix that. So what you want to do is you're going to pour your concrete powder into the container. And it seems like a lot whenever it's in the powder form, but the moment you add water to it, it really does, it shrinks in size a lot. So I'm going to add the concrete powder, and I'm going to add just a little bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit. So I'm going to pour that in, just a tiny amount. And you don't have to measure. You can if you want to, but it's not something that you have to do. I just kind of eye it, and I stir as I go. You see how that dust is kind of like kicking up. That's why I have the mask on, to protect myself from that. You want to get this to a sort of like brownie batter kind of consistency. So something that is pourable, so that way we can pour it into our vases. Okay. I should have mentioned this. Well, I didn't mention this earlier, but what I did is I cut my mailing tube in half, and I just used a kitchen knife for that. And I sawed it right down the middle, so at about 5 inches. And you're going to end up with 2 parts of it pretty much. You want to make sure that the bottom, the lid, is still on there, because that's going to keep your concrete from actually pouring out whenever you pour it in there. So as you can see here, you just take your popsicle stick and you're going to stir that consistency. I'm going to add a little more water. Well, I may not need to. The more water you add, the longer it's going to take to dry. So you don't want to kind of set yourself up for a long waiting game like that. So you want to kind of keep it as, you know, liquefied as you can. Okay, so I have it about right there. And you see how it's just kind of like swirling in the bowl like that? That's perfect. So what I'm going to do is, I have a solution already started in here. This one's still pretty liquefied, honestly. I was hoping that it would kind of settle enough to where I could show you guys how to remove it on camera, but I think I poured a little too much water in this first one, so I'm going to actually pour some of this out. Now, there are a few steps that you take beforehand when you're doing this, before you actually get to mixing and pouring your concrete. So the first steps you want to do after you cut your tube, and I know I'm kind of all over the place here, guys, bear with me as I already started the project. So the first thing, or the second thing that you do after you cut your tube, is you're going to take this little jar of Vaseline that comes into your kit. So you're going to take that jar and you're going to take a popsicle stick. You have a few in your kit. And you're also going to take the foam brush that's included as well. So with the foam brush and the popsicle stick, you're going to take the Vaseline and you're going to completely coat the inside of this tube. So the tube that you're going to pour the concrete into, you're going to coat it with the Vaseline. And how I did that was I just scooped some of it onto the popsicle stick like this, and then I took my foam brush and I kind of just brushed it on like that. And what that does is that's going to help create a protective barrier whenever you're ready to actually peel the paper off of your concrete once it dries. That's going to protect it so that way it doesn't completely get stuck and embedded into the concrete. You can use oil, like a non-stick cooking oil for this too. However, you have Vaseline in your kit and it's a little easier to work with, so I would just suggest using that. I already coated the entirety of the bottom of this and the actual base too, so no need to worry about that. But you want to make sure you completely coat that before you pour your concrete into it. So I just wanted to make mention of that since I did that step off of camera. Now, the secondary thing you do is you coat your cup with the Vaseline as well too. You have a little Dixie cup inside of your kit. You're going to coat that with Vaseline also, because this is actually going to go inside of the concrete solution that we just mixed and that we're about to pour into our container. Now, inside my cup, I don't know if you can see that, but I have a little bit of water in there. This is the part where it does get slightly tricky. So I have my cup. We're going to move this to the side because this was just for a demo. So I have my actual tube with my concrete poured into it already. And now I have the cup that we're going to put inside. This is going to create the reservoir that your vase will have once it's finished and once it's dried. So this is very important. And you want to make sure that you're working at a fast enough pace to where you can put this in here and the concrete will still accept it, because although it does take about 1 to 2 hours to completely dry, it's going to start settling at a kind of quick pace. So you want to make sure you're working with that in mind, and you don't want it to dry enough to where you can't actually put the cup in there, because then you won't have a vase, you'll just have like a concrete cylinder. So unless that's what you want, I mean, I don't know. So I'm going to put this in here, and The part that makes this slightly tricky is that you have to center it enough to where it's even for you. So you don't want your vase to kind of have an awkward off-centered, reservoir at the ends. You want it to be as even and as centered as possible. So I'm gonna grab, you can use whatever you have, loose change. I have some aquarium rocks right here. If you have marbles, literally I have like a bag of rocks. Um, Perks of being in my studio, I have a bunch of random things around. So I'm gonna take these rocks and I'm gonna use these to add a little bit of weight so it sinks some. And I'm gonna do this and then I'm going to center it and then show you guys to the best of my ability, because I know I'm just like, you can't really tell what I'm doing here on camera. But this is the step right here. Here we go, it's starting to sink some. Okay, and when you're putting this in here, you want to push this little Dixie cup into your concrete as much as you can without having the concrete overflow into the cup itself. So if that makes sense, you're pretty much working with balance and trying to avoid that spillage. And what I did is I put a little bit of water in the bottom of that cup to kind of add a bit of, center to it. And then I filled the rest of it with rocks. And it's hard to see on camera. I don't want to lift it too much because, yeah, I don't want to lift it and then dishevel it as I show you guys. So I'm going to explain it to the best of my ability. But pretty much, I have it centered in place. The rocks are in there. The water's in there. I use my popsicle stick to kind of maneuver it around a bit. And already, I poured this concrete maybe 20 minutes ago, and it's already kind of starting to set a bit, which is great. So at this point, I was just enough ahead of time to get it to kind of stay in place. So it's stuck in there, and I'm gonna set that aside and let it kind of cure a little bit. So we're gonna give that some time to dry up, and we're gonna give that some time to dry up, and then thank you, AJ. We're gonna give that some time to dry up, and then whenever we get to about 7:40, 7:45ish, I'm going to actually peel it off for you guys. So now that I got that time sensitive part out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to we'll explain a little more about the kit too. So for those of you who are just joining or who are new or have never seen this before, so every Thursday, either myself or Brittany, we go live on the Pop Shop America page and we demonstrate products that are available on the website. So on the Etsy page, Pop Shop America. And pretty much what Pop Shop America is, it's such a cool crafting kind of like mega website pretty much. And they have kits, they have different activities, they have crafts, they have things for beginners, they have things for people who are a little more advanced, they have stuff for people who are gifting for someone, people who are shopping for themselves. So there's a ton of different options on there, and it's the perfect kind of page to go to if you're looking to get into something a little more artistic or explore that part of yourself, or shop for someone who loves that too. So what we do on these Thursdays is we show some of the products that are on the site, and we kind of give you guys an idea of how to use them, what to do with them, different ideas you can do with them, and then we just walk you along the tutorial of how to work with them. So like I mentioned earlier, this is part one of a part two video series for this one. This is concrete vases, and then next week we're going to be making felt flowers that you can put inside of the concrete vases. And these vases are really cute, so I'm hoping that mine dries enough to where I can kind of peel the paper off at the end to show you guys how they look, because they're so aesthetic looking. But pretty much, so these crafts are just things you can do at home. You don't have to have a studio. You don't have to be a professional. You don't even have to have any experience. All of these crafts are very beginner friendly. They come with tutorials in the boxes. They come with everything you need in the boxes. So again, don't feel threatened or put off if you've never really had any art or crafting experience. You don't need that to do these kind of activities, because that's what the message and the whole point of Pop Shop America is pretty much getting you involved and getting your foot into the crafting world if you're unfamiliar with it or if you're someone who does it on the regular. So again, with this kit, you have, I'm going to go over what's in the kit since I already have everything poured. So in the kit, you're going to have your Roctite concrete, and this is going to be the concrete powder. It's very easy to use, guys. Like I mentioned earlier, you just may want to have like a mask on hand when you work with it. But the concrete powder that you're going to use to actually make the vases, you are going to have the mailing tube that you're going to cut in half to pour your concrete into to make. I have mine right here. You are going to have, it does come with a Tupperware container. You can, if you have these at home and you want to make more, you can use those too. So it's going to come with a Tupperware container to mix the concrete. It comes with popsicle sticks as well as the sponge brush, which you use to brush the Vaseline into the container, so that way your concrete doesn't stick to it. And it also comes with, this is the part I haven't shown yet. So it does come with felt. So you're going to have different colors of felt. You have greens and then pinks. So different shades to work with. It also has templates. So when you get on to making the actual flowers portion, which is what we'll be doing next week, it does include templates. So you don't have to worry about freehanding flowers or anything. The designs are already in the package. I already kind of cut into this one, but you can see that there. And they have rose templates and then succulent templates too. So you can make different ones depending on that. There's also sanding paper. I forgot what this was called. There's also sanding paper in the box too, which we're going to use to sand down our concrete vase towards the end of the stream, hopefully, if it's dried enough. So it has sanding paper in there to smooth everything out and get that fixated. It comes with a Dixie cup too, but I already put that in there, for anyone who's missed it. I already did that process. And of course it has, let's see, it does include a glue gun and glue sticks too. So you have pretty much everything you need, minus stuff that you already have laying around your house, such as a kitchen knife, water, and what else did I use? I used a tape measure. You don't have to use a tape measure, but pin. I used a pin too. So everything else is included, and the other stuff that's not, you have laying around at your house. So with these kits, there is a coupon code for the next 24 hours, and that's going to get you 15% off any kit on the website. I'm going to leave that in the chat. Let's see. So for 15% off, that code is going to be Craft with Alex. And that's going to get you 15% off anything on the website for the next 24 hours. And that code is currently active. So you guys can use that on the Etsy page. You guys can shop and see what else they have. There's coloring books, there's subscription services, there's boxes. We even do private classes as well too. We do corporate classes too. So if you have a job, a company, or a business that you want to do a team building exercise with, we have those too. So those are some of the options that we do have with that regarding the kits. So I want to go over, since I mentioned that we do these every Thursday, either Brittany or myself, we have some classes upcoming too. So next week on March 6th, I think it's the 6th, let me see. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong date. So March 9th, I'm sorry. See, so March 9th, we have the felt flowers. So that's the second part of what we're doing today. So that's where I'm going to be going, showing you guys how to make the succulents and then the flowers. So we're going to be doing that portion of it next Thursday, which is the 8th. And then the 16th, we're going to be doing DIY terrariums. So those are going to be really fun. The 23rd, Brittany is going to be doing that one. And that one is a bullet and sketchbook journaling session. The 30th is another relax and color. So once a month, we do relax and color sessions. Those are for anybody who wants to join us and color with us live. So we do, you can bring anything you want to color with, honestly, but we do have adult monthly coloring books on the website too. So you can bring those, or you can bring something you're working on from home. Even if you're painting, you're welcome to do that too. But it's the last Thursday of the month usually when we do those. And those are just a really relaxed session. We talk art, we talk crafts, we talk techniques. We talk about anything really, and we just relax, we color, we hang out with each other. So that's going to be March 30th. April 6th, we have Pajaki Chandelier. I'm reading that wrong. I can't even read my own writing. Oh my God. Okay, let me pull this up on the email. Okay, no, I read that right. Pajaki Chandeliers. Okay, so that's April 6th. April 6th. Okay. April 13th, we have Moon Macrame wall hanging. So if you're familiar with macrame art, it's kind of like this intricate sort of woven artistic medium, like yarn and ribbon and things like that, more so like yarn. So that's going to be on April 13th. And April 20th, we have vision boards. So we did have a vision board scheduled for this month, but we had to reschedule it. So anyone who is familiar with vision boards and the process behind that, we're going to be doing that on April 20th. So April 20th is DIY vision boards. And then the 27th is going to be our other relax and color class. So again, end of the month, we do relax and colors. It's just a very chill session with that. There's really not much to do, but just color and hang out with one another. So that's what we have coming up. Those are all free. So all of those workshops are completely free. You can take a look at them, and honestly, there's just a ton of like really valuable information you can learn on some of these things. So definitely, if you're a crafter, you're an artist, you're someone who's interested in something like that, I would say go ahead and tune in. But yeah, that's what we have coming up on the schedule. So let me take a look at my concrete, see how it's doing. It's actually starting to settle a lot. It's almost getting there, and I think I will be able to kind of peel this off towards the end. So hopefully that'll be good. If you're worried about when you're doing this at home, if you're worried about the concrete kind of like seeping out through the bottom, mine isn't. But in the event that you are worried about it and you don't want to stain or ruin or anything the surface that you're working on, you can definitely put some newspaper beneath it. You can put let's see, you can put newspaper, you can put a piece of like rag or something, but anything like that. So yeah, my handwriting is kind of crazy whenever I'm not trying. So I have two different types of handwriting. I'm really trying and practicing handwriting, usually if I'm writing something for someone else, and then I have my own notes, which are just completely illegible. It looks like a toddler wrote them, but I know what I'm writing most of the time. So I don't know. I've noticed that with a lot of people. I guess it's like doctor's handwriting, you know. So, anyways, we should be able to get this out. Yeah, this is like already drying. I poured this maybe like at this point it's been 35 minutes, so we should be good with that. And I can actually show the inside now. So I have that Dixie cup in there, and then the rocks are in there too, and that's just keeping it centered, and it's going to create that little reservoir. So that way, whenever you do take it out, you can actually make a vase out of it. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And the second portion of this, essentially, what you will do, I'm going to read over it with you guys before I actually move on to it. So with that, again, like after you have it centered, and there's photo tutorials in these pamphlets too that show you everything. So that makes it a lot easier as well. Now, the process of actually removing the tube, pretty much you're going to just peel it away. What I find easier is if I take some water and kind of mist it so that way it makes the cardboard a little softer. That works out pretty well, and that makes it easier to kind of just peel it and take it off. But you're going to just strip it away from the concrete like that, and literally it's so simple. So the concrete or the tube, and then peeling it, and then at the end you're going to have your vase as is. So with your vase, once it's completely out and once it's completely dry, which when you get to that step, I would recommend waiting at least 2 hours to completely sand it, because you don't want to just hit like maybe a spot that's not completely cured yet. You know, maybe the way concrete dries, certain parts of it dry quicker than other parts. So you want to make sure that it's completely dry before you start sanding it. But that's going to be your end result right there. So we're getting closer to that part. I'm actually probably going to start misting the tube. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good, because you can take your stick too and kind of poke it around and see. And that's where we're at right there. So I think we're good. I'm going to pour out this excess water because I don't want to. I'm going to take out the rocks first. And then I'm going to pour out the water because I don't want to make like a big mess, or bigger than I already have going on here. And you don't have to use rocks for this. You could use loose change. You could use, I mean, I don't know what else is small and weighs a lot, but you know, something that fits that caliber. Okay, so I have a water bottle with like a little spray mister, and I'm just gonna start misting it. You could honestly kind of just run it under some water too. That would probably be the easier thing to do, but I'm not near a sink, so I'm gonna work with what I have here. So I'm just misting it, and that's gonna help break down that cardboard and make it easier for me when I start to peel it away. Okay. So there we go. I don't know about you guys, but for those of us who are here in Texas, I'm here in Houston, and oh my God, it is so unpredictable, the weather here. It's crazy. Just yesterday, I was outside. I was painting a mural, and it was so hot. Like the heat, I got the most random sunburn in one part of my arm because I forgot to put sunscreen on that part of it, and that just shows just how kind of unforgiving the heat was that day. Whereas today, it's literally super. Oh, this is peeling so easy. Wow. Yeah, definitely missed it first, and then it kind of just unwraps like a can of biscuits or something. So, yeah, really easy. Okay, cool. I thought I was going to struggle with that for some reason, but I guess not. Not today. So I'm just peeling it off, and hopefully I didn't jinx myself. Wow. Okay. That's really cool. Okay. I'm just gonna throw it out somewhere. All right, so this is what I have so far. And obviously, oh, there we go. It's really warm. This concrete gets really warm when it cures. It's really odd. I wasn't expecting that, but here we are. Okay, it feels like I'm holding like a little heater or something. That's okay. But anyways, because I put the Vaseline on the tube, it made it easy to take it out. I am struggling a bit with this Dixie cup. So yeah. Oh, here we go. I just have to loosen. Oop. There we go. Okay. So this is what you end up with, and you have this little mini vase. I didn't use all of my concrete. I wanted to leave a little bit of it in my bowl to show you guys how to mix it. So yours will have a little bit more of height, a little more height to it than mine. Mine is on the shorter side, so it's a mini vase. But is gonna have a little more. This is really warm. I was not expecting that. That wasn't in the notes. Okay, so I have it out now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand it now, because honestly, it's dry enough to do that. So I'm going to do that. So pretty much in this part here, you just take your sandpaper, and I like to sand evenly, like an even pressure. And a good trick to do when you're doing that is you want to make sure that you're using all of your fingers to actually sand with. You don't want to do like that, you know, because then you're going to have a lot of pressure on one spot. Whereas if you have all of your fingers where you stand, you're going to have a more even grip. And I'm going to put my mask on for this too, because this is definitely going to create some dust, and I have bad allergies already with this crazy weather. So I'm not trying to stay up all night sneezing, because why would I do that to myself? So mask on, mask up. It's like living in 2020 again, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take this and sand it. And what this does pretty much is it just cleans it up, makes it look nice, makes it look cute, right? And plus two, with the tubing, you see those little ridges that came on it? We're gonna take that away by sanding it. I can't believe how warm this is. I have to look up why concrete gets so warm. I'm so interested by that. I don't know why, but anyways, so I'm gonna sand away this texture. There we go. And yeah, at this point, you have your vase. And the cool thing about this is because this is such a smooth concrete, a lot of the concrete you'll see at like more like industrial stuff or construction grade concretes, they're gonna have a lot more rocks in it. This one has a little bit, you can kind of see that, but not nearly as much as a concrete would that you would use at, for construction or something like that. So this is a great crafting concrete, great for artists, great for crafters, for the reason that it's a lot smoother and it's less work for you in the end in that case. So I'm taking that and I'm just polishing up the edges where it's a little rough. And my surface is wet down here, so I'm going to put a napkin down. But I'm just polishing up the edges. And if you do get, while it's wet, if you do get some of this on your hands, definitely wash your hands. I'm not using gloves. My skin's not super sensitive, but you never know. I would probably say use gloves. Don't do what I'm doing and not use gloves. Use gloves, okay? I have a mask, so at least I thought partially, right? Kind of thought ahead. Anyways, so I would say use gloves, use a mask, and if you are going to, for example, I have some leftover concrete here, and I have a bunch of leftover concrete in here, but it's kind of setting already because I didn't pour it anywhere. So don't pour the concrete in your sink. You don't want to mess up your pipes. You don't want to, clog anything up. I've heard some horror stories before of people pouring concrete in their sink and then having to completely repipe their house or their apartment. So you don't want to do that. Definitely not. So what I would suggest is what I did. You don't have to do what I do, but you could do something similar to it. I put some of the concrete, or I put my leftover concrete in a cup, and it's going to dry, and then I can just throw the cup away. So it solves my problem right then and there without causing another one in the process. But that's what I would recommend in that case, because you're gonna have, maybe if you did what I did, if you poured a little too much water, and you saw earlier how I poured some of that out, you may have some excess, concrete solution. So you can just pour that in a cup and then just toss it once it dries completely, so that way you don't have any problems with that. But back to sanding. So to sand the center, because it has a slight texture from the Dixie cup, I just take my sandpaper and I kind of twist it like this, and then just put it in the center, and that's it, really. Very straightforward. So the cool thing about this is whenever you can actually trim your sandpaper a bit too, to kind of fit into the smaller areas. I had scissors here, but they disappeared. I don't know where they went. I really don't know. I lose everything in this place. It's like an abyss. I put something down. Oh, I found them. Never mind. Okay, I found them. False alarm. All right, so I'm gonna take a tea break right now. I wanted coffee, but I looked at the time and I decided it was a bad decision. So I drank tea instead. It has caffeine too, but not nearly as much as coffee. So I figured that I'm not, doing something quite as bad. So here, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna take my scissors and just trim this a little bit so that way I can get into this space a little better. And you can even so much as wear protective eyewear if you want to, but you also don't have to. I would definitely say put on a mask to protect your breathing though. I would suggest that. So the cool thing about this concrete is you can customize it once you have once it's completely dry and you get it sanded down to what you like. You can customize it. You can paint it with acrylic paint. You can add, you can sculpt onto it. Honestly, the cool thing about concrete too, when it's in this kind of, I'll show you guys right here. When it's in, not this stage right here because this is already solidified, but when it's a little more flexible, kind of how it is right here, you see how it's like dripping from the popsicle stick like that. You can even add sculptures to it. So you can pretty much sculpt with the concrete. So you can add texture, you can add designs, you can carve into it. So there's a lot of cool techniques you can use. I've seen people too take like Dremels and carve designs into it and customize it. There's countless ways you can customize something. It's just really a matter of what can you think of. So you can really make some cool things with it. You can also use different shapes for your molds too. In this kit, it came with the paper mailer, so you could do something like that, but you don't have to have it as a cylinder. You can do they have a lot of plastic or silicone molds online that you could use. Those are reusable. Something like this is just some like a one and done kind of thing, but you can use reusable things for projects like this, and you can have different shapes and just kind of play around with that. So yeah, again, you can even make your own sometimes too. Might get a little tricky in that case, but I mean, why not? Go for it, try it out, see what happens. So I'm going to take this and start sanding the rest of it. And mine it's dried for the most part. I'd say maybe 90% dried, right? So in the case when you're at home and you're not working within an hour on a live stream, I would suggest giving it a proper, 2 hours to completely dry, just to make it a little easier for yourself, which honestly, it wasn't very hard right now either. But with the sanding, it would be easier if this was completely dry, because notice how some parts of my sandpaper are a little darker than others. That's because I'm hitting those, spots that aren't completely cured like the other ones as well. So that's what I would recommend. Um, but in that case, you're all set. And I'm sanding the edges. I don't want any harsh edges on this just because I feel like it makes it look a little unfinished. So I want to sand the bottom and make it more round just to give it a little more of a contemporary look. And you can just dust that powder off. But these vases are so cool in the sense that even if you don't paint them or customize them, once you put the flowers that go inside of them into them, they make such cute decorative ornamental pieces. And you don't have to use, for example, let's say you start off with the felt that comes in the kit, but you want to make more of the flowers. You can coordinate them color-wise to whatever whatever interior colors you have at home. You can fix them up that way. So it's really just a matter of completely customizing it to what you like best, what works best for you. And that's what I would suggest for this. But they're really cute. And honestly, you could probably even put some real plants in this too if you made a drainage hole, which in this case, it's a lot to drill through, but you could potentially do that as well. There's a siren in the background. Sorry guys. I live right by a street that cars are always going down, and there's always something happening. My walls are so thin and I hear everything, so it's one of those things. But again, I'm just sanding the edges, making sure that none of those harsh lines are visible, because I want to make it look like it's finished, and I feel as if those harsh lines kind of make it look a little unfinished and just less professional looking. So we'll take this off and I'll show you guys. And I'm going to let it dry a little bit more before I continue sanding it, but you can see how it looks a lot smoother. There's still that slight line there, which again, I'm going to let it dry before I continue doing it. And we are making concrete vases. So we're doing part 1 of a 2-part series that we're working on. Well, not series, but every Thursday we do lives. These are free lives for you to watch. We go over crafts that are part of Pop Shop America. And this is part 1 of a 2-part session pretty much for a kit that we have available. So this kit that we have is going to be concrete vases and felt flowers. So that's what it looks like right here. It comes in the box, and the first part of this kit is making the concrete vase, which we made today. And then the second part, which will be next Thursday, will be making those flowers, if you can see those right there. So we're going to be making the felt flowers and the felt succulents that we can add to our vases afterwards. So this is the first part that we did. And again, every Thursday we do these lives for free. You can watch them on YouTube, restream the Facebook page as well. So wherever you're tuning in, you can watch them at. And I did drop a coupon code in the chat box for you guys to use. That's available for the next 24 hours. That's going to get you 15% off anything on the website. So popshopamerica.com/Etsy, the Etsy page. But Craft with Alex, that's going to get you 15% off. And I left that in the chat box. Yes, you can definitely engrave these too. Really cool. But that's CraftWithAlex. That gets you 15% off any of the kits on the website. So you can use that. That's available for the next 24 hours, and that is currently active right now. So that's what we're doing tonight. That's what we did. We went through the process of making these, which we started off with this paper mailer right here that I cut in half. I threw the other half somewhere. But we started off with the paper mailer. We filled it with the concrete solution that came in the kit, and we let that cure. Once that was done curing, we removed it. We made the little reservoir with the Dixie cup that came in the kit as well. And all of these is going to be, we have step-by-step photo tutorials on the blog post. And we also have, we have the live, which you can watch afterwards on playback, so you can see like a step-by-step demonstration of it done in real time. But all of those are available on the website. Let me see if I can drop a link in that for you guys, so that way you can see that at a later time. Yeah, so I'm gonna drop that link in the chat box. And this is the blog post of what we are doing, what we did tonight. And hopefully hopefully you guys can see that. I think I did the whole thing. Let's see. Let me try this again. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I added that link. That link should be working in the chat box. And again, that's going to get you 15%. Well, that takes you to what we did tonight. So that was part one of a part two. Part two, we're going to be doing the felt flowers, and that's going to be next Thursday. So I went over this earlier, but I'm going to go over it again because I see there's a few more people who joined. So we have every Thursday, either myself or Brittany, we do the free tutorials, and those are live streamed at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we pretty much go over whatever craft that we have for that week, and we show you guys how to do them. We talk you through it. We answer any questions that someone may have, and we just pretty much show the process of that. So March 8th, we're going to be having the second part of this, which is the felt flowers. So I'm sorry, March 9th. Oh my God, I just have my dates all mixed up. Okay, so March 9th, we have the felt flowers, and these are on Thursdays, guys, every Thursday. So March 9th, we have the felt flowers. March 16th, we have DIY terrariums. March 23rd, we have a bullet and sketchbook journal course, and Brittany's going to be hosting that one. March 30th, we have relax and color. So at the end of every month, we have just a calm relax and color session, and that's where anyone can come in and bring whatever you're working on, whatever paintings, whatever drawings, if you have a craft that you're doing, if you just want to hang out and just, watch me draw and talk with me, you can do that too. So we do that at the end of every month, and that's just our relax and color sessions. And I go through the adult coloring book that we have on the Pop Shop America website. I also go over techniques too. So if you're new into coloring or a beginner, or you want to learn some different techniques you can do, we do that too. So I do I'll do a lot of color pencil, marker, watercolor, pins, things like that, and we just go over techniques on that. So that's going to be, that one is March 30th. Then for April, we have April 6th, that's Pajaki chandeliers. We're going to be making those. April 13th, we have moon macrame. Brittany might be doing that one as well. She's going to show you guys how to make. Yes, she's posting those in the chat. Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. So April 20th, we have vision boards, and then April 27th, we have another relax and color too. And Brittany posted all of those in the chat, so that way you can see what it is we're going to be doing, and that's the schedule for the remainder of this month and next month as well. And again, every Thursday we do these. They're completely free. Take advantage of it, especially if you shop online on the website and then you have one of these kits and you're a little confused, or you just want a little extra guidance as you go through them. These tutorials are perfect for that because we cover everything that you need to know when you are doing this. But again, as I mentioned earlier today, we did the part one of this two-part tutorial, and that's the concrete vases and the felt flowers. And I was able to get my vase out, which was really cool because I wasn't expecting to have it finished in time. I didn't think that it was going to dry in time. And I talked to Brittany earlier, and she's like, no, it'll dry, like I promise you. And I'm like, okay. So I tried it. It worked. I should have believed in her. She was right. So the relax and color is virtual. So all of these are virtual, guys. So you can literally tune in anywhere ever. If you're at a coffee shop, if you're at home, if you're at work, I won't tell. Anywhere you're at, as long as you have service or access to the internet, you can tune in, you can watch us. So I definitely encourage you guys to tune in, and especially if you're creative and maybe you want to make art and vibe out with other creatives, it's a great virtual space to do that. So I would really recommend it. Come in, let us know what you're working on, ask for tips, share your tips. So I definitely recommend it. But yes, great question. So those are virtual. And again, every Thursday we do this. It's something different every Thursday. So tune in and see. We also have private paid classes too. We have corporate classes, and then we have events also too. So you can tune into, or you can check those out on the Etsy page and get an idea of that. And then the blog post at Pop Shop America has visual walkthroughs of a lot of these kits that are available online. So if you want to use the coupon code Craft with Alex, that's going to get you 15% off. You can take a look to see what's available. There's coloring books, there's courses, there's subscription boxes. There's a lot of different opportunities. Yes, and then you can watch us live on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube too. So those are all available. There is a crafting group on the Facebook page if you guys use Facebook. It's called Let's Craft Together. You can ask to join that too, and then you can tune in and see what other people are working on, and then just kind of get ideas, inspiration, and be around other like-minded individuals. So a lot of cool resources out there that you can take advantage of, and I recommend it. So especially if, like I mentioned earlier, you're looking into getting, maybe branching out and seeing what else is out there, what other mediums you could use. Maybe you want a better sense of community, you're looking for that. This is what this is all about. This is why we do the live streams, to help make that sense of community and help bring people in. So I recommend that, if you're curious, and everything is free, so why not try it out, right? But with that being said, we're getting close to the end of the hour here, and all of the classes that we have, the free lives that we have coming up, Brittany was kind enough to leave those in the chat box, so that way you guys can take a look at that and see everything that's coming up. There's also the coupon code as well that you can use for tonight, and as well as what we have coming up for the next 2 months classes wise. So again, this was really easy, honestly. Everything here is beginner friendly. I've worked with concrete once before, and that concrete was a lot more difficult to work with than this one right here. This one was really easy, honestly. And again, like, my vase is pretty much dried, and you can customize these beyond that. Like I mentioned too, you can add ribbons, you can engrave it, you can paint it, you can sculpt on top of it, you can do a ton of different things. And mine came out a little short, so but that's because I didn't use all of my product. I demonstrated partially how to mix it in the beginning too with this live stream, because I did a pre-pour. So yours will be a little bit taller, and this technique you can use to make other pieces of, ornaments and vases and designs. Pretty much you can really just make a ton of stuff with this. Like I mentioned earlier, just there are a few things of safety that you want to keep in mind before doing this. Definitely wear gloves. I didn't wear gloves. To be fair, my hands really aren't too dirty though with this concrete. So yeah, so definitely have gloves on hand, have a mask on hand too, just to prevent yourself from getting any of the flyaway of the dust. And just be mindful whenever you're working with any product. Don't, like I mentioned earlier, any of the excess that I had, I poured it in a cup and it's already drying. So I'm just going to take this cup and toss it once it's done. I don't want to pour it down my drain and risk damaging my pipes or anything, or I don't want to pour it down my toilet. Don't do that either. Not a good idea. So definitely just pour it in a cup, and then once it's dried, you can just toss it out. Other than that, it wasn't too big of a mess. I have a tabletop that I'm working on top of, and there's a little bit of powder here from when I sanded it, but it wasn't, it's nothing crazy. I can just take a towel and wipe it up. So it's not huge in terms of cleanup, and it's not that messy. There's no odor or smell. I'm working inside. I'm in my studio. There's my doors and my windows are closed, and I don't smell anything. So just in case if you're wondering that, when working with this kit, there's no odor with this. So I just wanted to point that out too. But other than that, we are approaching the end of the live stream. We got to the first step of this, so I'm going to let this completely finish drying, and next week we are going to do the felt flowers portion of this, and again, that's next week on the 9th. So we're going to be making succulents and flowers out of felt. So that's this material right here. So we have greens and pinks. We're going to be making roses and succulents. So those are going to be really cute, and you can kind of see on the box what those will end up looking like that. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. So next Thursday on the 9th, that's the second step of this two-part workshop. So part one was the vase. Part two will be the flowers next week. And again, these are all free to watch. And we have the dates that are upcoming in the chat box on the side. So feel free to take a look at those, see what we have coming up, add them to your calendars. Take a look at the website too. That coupon code is active for the next 24 hours. So that gets you 15% off on any of the kits that you order. That's going to be Craft with Alex, and that's listed below as well too. So next week we're going to do the flower portion of this, and then we will have the completed product at the end of that. So I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you so much for watching with me, for crafting with me, and I'm looking forward to next week with everyone, okay? You guys have a great night. Bye.